New Thought Media Network proudly presents the Global Heart of Peace's Peace Party. Celebrate the many paths to peace. Explore an exciting life of peace. Embody joyous peace. Come to our weekly Peace Party, Mondays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Only on New Thought Media Network. www.ntmedia.org.
Hello, my name is Reverend Jackie Harris, and I'm an associate minister at Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado. This time we are having the Peace Party, and it's brought to you by the Global Heart of Peace Initiative. We are here to celebrate the many aspects of peace and explore how exciting a life full of peace and joy can be. Today, I'm going to be talking about peace on earth, and that it begins with me. And that's just not me, it's me and you. So let's spend some time just looking at that topic and seeing how it all unfolds. And hopefully you'll be able to take some of this away. And during this time of year when we really recognize that peace should be on earth because of our holiday season, I certainly hope that you will be able to see that you can live this kind of peace every day. And I want to start just with a little Christmas story, and that is that if you remember the story of the birth of Jesus, one segment of it was the shepherds in the field, and an angel comes to them and says that there will be peace on earth and goodwill to all. So why hasn't that unfolded? And I think all of us know that the reason it hasn't unfolded is because of us. Maybe not me or you personally, but we are responsible for making sure that there is peace around us. And so I can hear you saying, but I'm not a politician. I have no political power to stop wars or even be an influencer on those who are more involved in the lack of peace that we see in our world today. And you're right. Maybe you're not a politician, but you are an influencer of peace with everything you do in your life. That's a little scary, isn't it? You know, in our day, we are bombarded with social media, 24/7 news, and we can't help but be distracted in our lives because of all of this cacophony of noises, and as I said, distractions. They're distracting us from being who we really are. And I think back, one of my favorite classes that I teach for CSL is Roots. And going back to Ralph Waldo Emerson, in those days, they did not have 24-hour news. They did not have social media. It doesn't mean that they didn't have distractions going on in their life. What with the ending of the Civil War and still trying to deal with the notion of whether there should be slavery or not, there were so many things. The lack of voting rights for women. There was so much going on in his life. However, he was able to get away, to draw away, and start really paying attention to what was happening in the world and what kind of influence he could have on those people around him. But we don't live in those times where we don't have distractions that are constant. Not that we can't turn off social media and turn off 24/7 news. But what happens is it gets into our mind, and our mind gets muddied and confused, and there is no peace. That's an awful thing for me to say out loud. But the truth is, you and I can bring peace on earth every day. We bring it in the way we react to other people. How do we interact with them? Are we kind? Are we compassionate? It's interesting, Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, talked about each one of us being a spiritual broadcasting network. We are constantly broadcasting good news, interesting news, and very interesting news to all of those around us. Are you aware of that? Are you aware that your thoughts and your behaviors are affecting the people around you? Might be your children. It might be your spouse or significant other. It might be the person in the grocery store, the clerk who's checking you out. We are always broadcasting what we believe. So do you see how if you can start broadcasting kindness, you can start broadcasting compassion, love, peace, that you will impact the people around you, and then each one of those people can begin to affect the people in their universe of people. And eventually we could change the world. But we don't trust ourselves. We don't think we have power. We give our power away. And then we're surprised when it continues over and over and over again. It's so important for us to understand the power we have. This time of year, I love to watch Christmas movies. You know, some people talk about all the Hallmark movies, and I tend to go to Netflix to watch my movies because I don't have to watch the commercials then. And I saw two movies this weekend that really reminded me of what I'm talking about. And it's called The Christmas Chronicles. Kurt Russell is Santa Claus in these movies, and in the second movie, which I think really speaks to how we can shift what's happening in the Christmas Chronicles 2, Goldie Hawn is Mrs. Claus. And one of their elves went amok. Can you imagine the fun that these elves, as you watch them, their darling little animated beings that were created, but the fun they were having in the Santa village. And one of them didn't think he had enough attention, didn't think he was recognized enough. And what happens is he turns into a human because he's lost his kindness, his compassion, his joy. Now there's an interesting take. He became a human, and then he was so angry that he wanted to destroy the Santa village. And so the whole story is about how he find some way to make all the elves angry and I think you see the power of that one, the power of that one to change the whole look of something as beautiful as this Santa village and the life that was there. So I think it's important to tell those stories. And I have to say that you can find, if you can't find it in yourself, then look for things like movies or books that can remind you who you are deep within your soul. You are a divine being of God. Don't ever forget that. And my hope is that if you happen to forget it, that there is someone in your life who will remind you. The miracles of living are happening all the time. We need to be awake and aware. And we need to remember that we can create peace on earth one person at a time. One person at a time. Try it. Try going into the store and being pleasant and kind and generous to the clerk or to the people who are stocking. Even when you're driving and someone cuts you off, instead of having that automatic anger response, think, something's going on in their day. Something's going on in their day. Maybe they're late. Maybe they've had an argument. But don't personalize those kinds of things. See the good in everyone. See that core of being that is kindness. And then bring joy. And that joy brings peace. And then it will multiply across this planet. In our ACS class, that's Advanced Consciousness Studies, we just looked at this topic of how we are broadcasting networks, but also how we show up is influencing the people around us. That is a big charge for each of us, to remember that we are influencing those around us. So let's influence them for good. Let's influence them for peace, so that we can have peace in our time, and that we can sing with the angels that there is peace on earth after all. I want to remind you also that one of the ways to get to that peace is to do your spiritual practices. I pause because in this busy time of year, some of us can think, I just don't have time. Yes, you do. Sit and do readings or prayer or meditation to get yourself ready to start every day, so that when you walk out that door, you're ready to spread peace on earth. It's the only way we can individually change this world. And I know each one of us has the power to do that. And it's really interesting to me that when I do a talk or do something like this, that all of a sudden all of these things show up to support it. And I found something in the 365 Days of Richer Living from the founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, that I want to close with. So let's use this as a prayer. So if you'll take a deep breath in and then let that breath out. Close your eyes if you're comfortable and listen to these words. In this peace that holds me so gently, I find strength and protection from all fear or anxiety. It is the peace of God in which I feel the love of a holy presence. I am so conscious of this love, this protection, that every sense of fear slips away from me as mist fades in the morning light. I see good in everything, God personified in all people, life manifest in every event. Spirit is not separate from persons or events. I see that it unites everything with itself, vitalizing all with the energy of its own being, creating everything through its own divine imagination, surrounding everything with peace and quiet and calm. I am one with this deep, abiding peace, and I know that all is well. So keep that in your hearts and minds as you continue to move through the beauty of this season that we have right now, and take it with you into the new year too, knowing that you are the one that can bring peace on earth. Thank you for joining us today as we explored, I think, a unique aspect of peace, and hopefully I was able to introduce you to a new way to look at peace. I'd love to invite you, if you're in the Lakewood area, to come to Mile High Church to our candlelight services. They will be on December 23rd and 24th. They're at 1, 4, and 7. We would love to see you. And if you are only within the sound of my voice, in other words, you're not in Colorado or the Lakewood area, then you can watch these candlelight services at 4 o'clock on December 23rd and again on December 24th. We'd love to have you with us. It's a beautiful time, and it certainly will take you into peace. So next week at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, join us for a new guest and topic. And our guest will be Reverend Kit Holmes. She is a delightful human being. And now I invite you to dance in the joy of a peace-filled life.